ESPN's first take in shambles after guest Druski called out Kevin Stefanski for doing Shedeur Sanders dirty. The story of Shedeur Sanders, the Browns' quarterback battle, ESPN's misstep, and a comedy star who accidentally stirred the NFL pot. Introduction: the collision of sports, entertainment, and controversy. When a sports debate show meant to dissect football's hardest truths ends up being overshadowed by a comedian's unexpected hot take, chaos is bound to follow. That is exactly what happened when ESPN's First Take, one of the network's most high-profile talk shows, invited comedian Druski to weigh in on Shedeur Sanders' tumultuous early days with the Cleveland Browns. Shedeur Sanders, the son of Pro Football Hall of Famer and Colorado head coach Deion "Coach Prime" Sanders, was already the subject of endless headlines. Drafted 144th overall in the 2025 NFL Draft, Sanders arrived in Cleveland with both doubters and believers tracking his every move. His preseason debut was electric, generating national buzz and even praise from icons like LeBron James. Yet, almost as quickly as his rise began, injury and controversy collided, with Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski facing criticism for burying the rookie quarterback at 4th on the depth chart. Into that volatile storm walked Druski, a social media star known more for viral skits than football strategy. When he called out Stefanski for doing Shedeur dirty, the result wasn't just a laugh, it was a lightning rod. Fans erupted. ESPN was blasted for platforming an entertainer over analysts. And First Take, already accused of chasing clout over credibility, found itself in the middle of a firestorm. This is the story of how Shedeur Sanders' preseason spark became the NFL's hottest storyline, why ESPN's decision backfired, and how a comedian's heartfelt defense turned into one of the most polarizing sports TV moments of 2025. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie who refused to stay quiet. Shedeur Sanders was never going to slip into the NFL quietly. As the son of Deion Sanders, football royalty and media magnate, Shedeur has lived under glaring lights since his teenage years. When he declared for the 2025 NFL Draft, expectations and skepticism collided. Many scouts argued Sanders lacked elite arm strength. Others questioned his ability to adapt to NFL speed, and some viewed him as simply benefiting from his father's celebrity aura. That perception only grew when he slid all the way to the 5th round, where the Browns grabbed him with the 144th pick. Yet, for all the doubts, Shedeur carried himself with a quiet determination. "I don't really care about the number I got picked," he told reporters on draft night. "Once I get on the field, that's where I do my talking." His chance came in the Browns' preseason opener against the Carolina Panthers. In just a handful of drives, he showed why those who doubted him might need to rethink their evaluations. The preseason debut that shook the NFL on a humid August night, with millions tuning in, Shedeur Sanders stepped under center in a Cleveland Browns uniform for the first time. What followed was nothing short of cinematic. He completed 14 of 23 passes for 138 yards, tossing 2 touchdowns with poise and precision. He moved the chains with confidence, extended plays with his legs, and even added 19 rushing yards on 4 carries. For a rookie many had pegged as a project, Sanders looked every bit the part of a quarterback who could command an NFL offense. The performance wasn't just solid, it was historic. NFL Network later reported that Sanders' debut helped draw 2.2 million viewers, making it the most-watched preseason opener since 2015. Suddenly, the narrative around Shedeur shifted from skepticism to possibility. Fans flooded social media with clips of his throws. Analysts highlighted his composure. And across the sports world, praise poured in from names far bigger than your average NFL pundit. LeBron James, Dawn Staley, and the celebrity spotlight. Shedeur's debut didn't just impress football insiders. It drew reactions from some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. NBA legend LeBron James, who has long supported Deion Sanders' journey in Colorado, took to social media to voice his admiration. "That boy Shedeur is the real deal," James wrote, adding that Sanders' poise reminded him of veterans who've led championship-caliber teams. South Carolina women's basketball coach Dawn Staley also praised Sanders, noting how his performance under pressure was symbolic of the resilience young athletes need to thrive. Suddenly, Shedeur wasn't just a rookie quarterback. He was a crossover figure, a cultural talking point with a spotlight brighter than many of his draft classmates combined. But football can be cruel, and just as the momentum built, disaster struck. The injury that changed the conversation. Following his breakout debut, Sanders suffered an oblique strain during practice. The timing couldn't have been worse. Cleveland's second preseason game against the Philadelphia Eagles was seen as a crucial opportunity for Sanders to continue climbing the depth chart. His direct competition, veterans Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel, were sidelined with hamstring injuries. With both out, Sanders had a real chance to prove himself as the next man up behind Joe Flacco. Instead, the injury kept him on the sidelines. By week 2, Sanders' spot on the depth chart hadn't moved. Joe Flacco remained the starter, while Stefanski refused to elevate Sanders above 4th. For many, it felt like the rookie had been unfairly frozen out just as he had earned his chance. That's where ESPN and Druski came in. ESPN's gamble, bringing comedy into the huddle. First Take has long been known for its fiery debates, featuring hosts like Stephen A. Smith sparring with analysts and athletes alike. But in recent years, the show has been accused of drifting into engagement farming, creating viral moments at the expense of serious sports analysis. When Shedeur Sanders became the NFL's most talked about rookie, ESPN saw an opportunity. Rather than bringing in a former coach or analyst to dissect the Browns' quarterback controversy, they invited comedian Druski, whose massive social media following promised clicks and conversation. The move backfired. Druski defends Shedeur. "They're doing my boy dirty." When asked about Shedeur Sanders being stuck at 4th on the depth chart, Druski didn't hold back. "It's crazy how they're doing my boy, man, honestly," he said, shaking his head in disbelief. He went on to remind viewers of Sanders' preseason debut. "I low-key love that he got this chance to play in this preseason game because it showed like y'all can doubt him and y'all can say all that stuff y'all saying about him. But what God got for the boy, can't stop it." For many fans, Druski's words resonated. He wasn't delivering polished analyst jargon. He was speaking from the perspective of an everyday supporter, frustrated, emotional, and convinced Sanders deserved better. But not everyone appreciated the sentiment. Fans roast ESPN. First Take is a joke. Almost immediately, social media erupted. Fans didn't just debate Sanders' standing. They questioned ESPN's judgment. One viewer wrote bluntly, "First Take is a joke. Influencers? Really? We taking takes from influencers? We are cooked as a society." Another lamented the show's decline. "I remember I used to watch First Take every single day. Now this show is complete garbage and nothing but engagement farming. I love Druski, but having him on First Take tells you everything you need to know about this show and ESPN." Others took a more sarcastic approach. "Might as well brought us on for all that." The backlash wasn't just about Druski, it was about ESPN's direction. For a network once known as the gold standard of sports journalism, critics argued that trading credibility for viral moments was a dangerous path. The larger debate, entertainment versus expertise. The Druski controversy tapped into a broader question facing modern sports media. Should shows prioritize traditional analysis, or lean into the entertainment era where memes and influencers drive ratings? On one hand, Druski's appearance brought attention and created viral clips. Exactly what ESPN executives crave in a competitive media landscape. On the other hand, it alienated core sports fans who still expect sharp analysis and insider knowledge. This tug-of-war mirrors the NFL's own struggle. Players like Shedeur Sanders exist at the intersection of athletics and celebrity culture. He isn't just a quarterback. He's a figure followed by millions of non-football fans. In that sense, perhaps Druski's perspective wasn't irrelevant at all. Still, the anger from loyal viewers suggests ESPN may have pushed too far in chasing clicks. Chapter 9. The Future for Shedeur Sanders. Lost in the media frenzy is the actual player at the center of it all. For Shedeur Sanders, the path forward remains uncertain but full of potential. Reports from NFL insider Tom Pelissero suggest Sanders could return to practice soon, and might even play in the Browns' final preseason matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. If healthy, that game could be critical in proving himself once again. For now, though, the Browns' quarterback room remains crowded. Joe Flacco is the steady veteran. Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel are waiting in the wings. And Shedeur Sanders, despite his viral debut, still sits at the bottom of the depth chart. But if his first preseason game proved anything, it's this: Shedeur has the talent, confidence, and audience to make the NFL pay attention, whether the Browns want it or not. Conclusion: a moment bigger than football. What began as a rookie's preseason performance spiraled into a national conversation about fairness, sports,